Babe, we need to order groceries. Hey beautiful people, it's Courtney. You know, since the pandemic, we've been relying more and more on grocery delivery services like Instacart, and I have a feeling we're not the only ones. It got me thinking, what's the process like? How does it work? How much can you make? And I figured this would be a great opportunity to try it out for a week and share it with you guys, and maybe one of you can find your new side hustle. I'm gonna take you through everything I learned in this week doing Instacart, as well as how much I made, how much it works out to per hour, and if I think it's worth it. By the way, if you've never gotten your groceries delivered through Instacart, totally worth it. I will leave a link down below that will give you $10 off your first delivery. Many of us grocery shop every week for ourselves and our family and don't get paid to do so. So let's look at what Instacart is paying their shoppers. Each batch has a base pay of $7 to $10 depending on things like distance and number of items. You can get a peak boost when more shoppers are needed, and you'll always keep 100% of the customer's tip. The application process was extremely easy. You have to fill out a short form, pass a background check, and then within about a day, once your background check comes back, you can start shopping instantly with Apple Pay. Otherwise, they'll send you a debit card in the mail in about a week or so. On top of this, you'll at least have to be 18, have a valid license and vehicle, a smartphone, and be able to lift 30 plus pounds, but usually these heavy orders are noted as such on the app. All right, first day of orders. I have been waiting 15 minutes to pick up a batch. Finally, I got tired of waiting. I just came to the grocery store so that way I could accept it, because the only ones that are showing up to me are ones that are like 30, 45 minutes away. And sorry, not driving all the way down there unless it's on the way for a batch. Trying to get a local batch and there is just like none on here. And I'm back home. So that was a waste of an hour of my life. Day one was a huge fail. I really wanted to combine this into my everyday life. So after the gym, I was planning on going and doing some Instacart orders since I was already in town. And to me, that was the biggest frustration I had with this whole Instacart experience, was actually picking up orders that were convenient and not 40 minutes away just to get to the store, which was completely not worth it to me. Day two, I finally got my first order and I was really nervous to get started because I'm such a perfectionist and I kind of didn't know anything going into it. They don't give you any specific instructions, which was a little bit nerve-wracking, but the good thing was as soon as I actually started my first order, they walk you through the entire first order with like on-screen prompts, and it was very easy to follow. I wish when I signed up, they would have said like, we'll walk you through your first order. They might have had that somewhere, but I definitely didn't see it, so I didn't really know what to expect. I got my first batch and it's smooth sailing until there's a replacement. And she's taking a while to respond back, so we'll see what happens. For me, I really relied on reading the tags on the actual grocery aisles where it says the price. It also like says a little preview of the name, and I relied on those to make sure I was looking in the right spot and it was just sold out. Now, occasionally customers will pre-select their replacements if something's out of stock. I know when I've used Instacart to get my groceries delivered, I could pre-select similar alternatives in case things are out of stock. A lot of people don't do this though, and you're left with either refunding them, which Instacart doesn't prefer, or to select a replacement yourself. So you want to find something very similar, maybe just a different brand. And a lot of times I found myself messaging the customers, which did take up quite a bit of time. All right. Day one, well, day two, but first successful day. I have some thoughts. I did this for a little over 3.5 hours, and a lot of that was sitting around and waiting, which was the worst part. So once I actually got going, I think I did pretty well. I only did 2 batches, but they were both very large, like over 50 items. My earnings is looking like $38.94, and each batch took me about an hour to shop and deliver, which I thought was pretty good. And what's cool cool is you could actually see your time on here. And I think my time's pretty well. I was trying to look up the average, and apparently for my first 2 batches, my speed was 58, my shopping time was 52, and my checkout speed was 6. So I think that's pretty fast. And what I was looking at is some people were in the hundreds, but I got 2 done today in 3.5 hours. My phone was completely dead. It's at 6%, even using my phone charger. And I think that's because I was waiting for batches for literally so long. So we're gonna see what happens tomorrow. It's 10:23 and I'm heading to my very first grocery store for today. So fingers crossed we'll stay busy. Now, something I was concerned about being a female, being young, and doing this by myself was, of course, safety. What I did notice though was, especially since COVID, most people just wanted their groceries left at the door. So all you do is swipe on your phone to show that you've delivered it, and you take a photo of the groceries showing it at their doorstep, and you actually don't come in contact with the customer whatsoever. So those were the ones I honestly really preferred. If you have alcohol in the order, you do have to come in contact with them and scan their ID. Or I did have a few others where I just had to knock on their door and deliver. Luckily, nobody asked me to come inside, which I already had in my mind. If they were, of course, elderly or disabled, I was totally fine doing that. And Instacart does not push that on you. They have no requirement saying you have to deliver it into their house. So it's kind of up to your discretion. But for me, I just planned on blaming Instacart, like it was against their policy if they had asked me to come inside and I was uncomfortable. I'm pulling in home and it is 2:34. So I was out for a little over 4 hours and I got 3 batches. The first batch I picked up really quick, got it done. The second batch I waited almost 20 minutes just to pick up the batch and get shopping. And then the third one I picked up really quick as well, which I was like, sweet, I'm on a roll. And then after the third one, I was trying to get another one in, but the last 40 minutes or so, it was just nothing. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll drive home. Luckily, the ones that I picked up today all did pretty well. I averaged $51, which is terrible for 4 hours of work. But for the 3 batches was actually really well, because I averaged $30 in tips, which was over $10 an order. And overall, I think $50 for the 3 batches was good if I wasn't waiting around so much. Day 4 and 5, I decided to do this on a Saturday and Sunday to give you guys a full overview on my experience and really take into account a variety of different things. And let me tell you, the weekend was so much better. I had 0 downtime on both days, and both days were loaded with peak bonuses because there was more orders out there than there were shoppers, which was a win-win for me. Driving to drop off my first order of the day and hoping I could pick up a second order pretty quickly after this. I'm not sitting around waiting. So I was able to pick up my second batch right away, which is exciting for once. And the problem I have is I just picked it up. It's 12:45 now, and it says this batch is supposed to be delivered by 1. So I don't know if it's because this order's just been sitting around a while. I don't really know what happened. So hopefully I'm not dinged for that, because that just seems really odd. I'm so flustered. I now know why nobody wanted that order, and there was such like a boost on it. The items were so hard. They were like all specialty items, like not your typical order, and I am flustered. And she kept wanting to add more stuff to her order and take it out, and there was a lot of stuff she wanted because it was so specialty that it wasn't there. So much stuff was out of stock. Like, that was the most difficult order. That sucked. I fell. The instructions were watch your step, and then my last bag, I was petting the dog, fell up the steps trying to catch myself. I'm glad that one's just done. I'm over with that. Even after a week of doing Instacart, one thing I could not wrap my head around was the Instacart timing. I have Googled this, I have read Reddit forums, and I just couldn't find a solid answer. Now, what confused me a lot of times is as you're shopping, Instacart will give you a projected shop time. Now, one time my order started out at about an hour, and after I scanned like 2 items, it dropped to like 30 minutes. and I had no idea why that happened. I don't know if it kind of sees how fast you're shopping and adjusts to that. And another issue I had with the timing is the delivery time. So I would swipe when I was ready to start driving to their home to deliver it, which notifies the customer, which is helpful to have. But sometimes it would give me like 3 minutes or 5 minutes to deliver. I don't know if I took too long bagging the groceries, which I don't feel like I did. I always felt like I was kind of rushing. I didn't really find any clarity anywhere, and I don't really know if it affects me. I didn't get any warnings that I was late or too slow or anything, so I guess that's a good sign. All right, we're kicking off day 5 right now, and I'm heading to the store. So this order is one I normally would not accept. It has no tip, nothing, and I did want to do one of these for you guys to see, do people change the tip after the fact, or do they just not tip, which is really crappy. Tip your servers, tip your Instacart drivers, like they don't get paid much, so please tip them if you're going to use these services. But the reason I did accept this was because it had an $8 peak bonus. It was only like 10 items. I only had to drive a mile. So it's like a $15 order for not a ton of work, and it helps me test out my theory. I'm home from my last day of delivery, and today went pretty good. So the first 2 orders were so fast, so easy. I didn't get a tip from that first guy. By day 5, I really had store preference, which is something people talk about a lot. They tend to stick to 1 or 2 of the same stores, and this was definitely the case for me. And today was going so good until my last order. I thought I would stop at a different grocery store on my way home, and I was kind of hoping it would be like Publix, where everything was broken down by the aisle. It was not, and everything was just very hard to find in that store. Luckily, the customer only had like 20 something items. I did have a peak boost on all 3 of my orders today of $8, which I thought was really good. I mean, that's an extra $8 that I normally wouldn't have gotten for each one of those orders. And that's just because there were so many orders, not enough shoppers. I think today was my best day in terms of money per hour. I made $60.11 for the 3 batches in 2 hours and 45 minutes, which equates to about almost $22 an hour. So I think that was pretty good, and I had a pretty easy day until that last order, and that was kind of on me. I wanted to give you guys the feedback of multiple grocers, and I kind of learned my lesson there. Overall, I think Instacart has the potential to be really good depending on the area you're in. If you're making minimum wage, I definitely think Instacart is worth it, because I found, especially on the weekends, if you can average about $20 an hour, I think that's not terrible for an app like this. For me, since I live a little further away from the grocery stores, I found that if I planned my day like around the batches, if I was already going out and running errands, if I was already out at the gym, I would try to pick up batches from there, and at the last batch of the day, I would always try to get one that would land me close to home, because time is money. I think depending on your area, this could potentially be a decent, steady, part to full-time job. I definitely do think there are enough orders out there, although I did struggle with first. I think Instacart would be great for someone to have and have the experience in case they have an unexpected bill or something where they need money quick and fast. Another thing I didn't touch on is you definitely want to track your miles and any expenses that are associated with you shopping on Instacart, because you are an independent contractor, meaning Instacart isn't going to take taxes out of your pay. So this is something you also have to account for, and account for the miles it's putting on your car and the wear and tear on your car as well. I use QuickBooks for this to track all my mileage for this week. QuickBooks is something that I already use for my business to track my expenses, and it has a cool GPS feature that it automatically tracks your miles if you turn it on, and then you just swipe it as either a business mile, personal, and it's tax savings right there. I'll leave a link below for you for 50% off your first 6 months on QuickBooks, which makes it about $7 a month. So I made $206.95 in the week that I did Instacart. I had 11 batches. I got a 5-star rating, which I'm proud of. And knowing what I know now, I definitely think I could get the rate per hour a little higher, such as working on weekends or in the evening when more people are ordering on Instacart. What I'd be curious to see is if if this hourly wage is more or less compared to, say, Uber or Lyft or DoorDash. So if you guys would like to see me try those out, definitely let me know and I could test those out and then kind of do a video comparing them all together if y'all would like to see that. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you want to get your groceries delivered or you want to try delivering groceries, I'll leave links to all of that in the description box below, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.